Aston.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, that's east of Richmond, it's out near Byrd Air Force.
Yeah, I think Richmond was where a great many of them lived, or in that vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. All right. And we got speed? Yeah. Okay. Phyllis, tell me about this period in 1947 during the summer when you came to see your father at Roswell. What did your father do in Roswell? Let's get into that.
My father was the sheriff of Checks County, and they lived in the courthouse. The jail and the sheriff's quarters were in the same building, and so they lived on the downstairs floor, and then downstairs was an office with 2 rooms, and the jail was upstairs, and prisoners were taken into the office and then up the steps to the jail.
And what were you living with your folks in 1947?
No, I wasn't living with them. I was there visiting. My husband and I were both students after World War II in Las Vegas, New Mexico, in Highlands University, and we were there several years after World War II to finish up our degrees, which we had started before the war. Our education had been interrupted by World War II. So we went back, but I sometimes did not go quite as much because I had a young son, and he liked to stay with my mother, and if I was going to go to school, we also went to business, and working in, so he'd stay there. He'd probably be there for a while, or I don't know what time I was actually in school, or going back
At the moment, the necessary data are relevant for this, because in the course of
So you came to visit your father's office one day in July?
and allow no time to look for fresh data, offering not enough for mature consideration. But it more often happens that the correction of one premise and the knowledge of chance events which have arisen are not sufficient to prove
Then you come in with your question.
Okay, well, I just get you started. That's exactly what you were doing in
Our knowledge of circumstances has increased, but our uncertainty, instead of having been diminished, has only increased. The reason of this is that we do not gain all experience at once, but
No introduction at all.
thus our determinations continue to be assailed incessantly by fresh experience. And the mind, if we may use that expression, must always be
In
under arms.
1947, I was
Now, if it is to be safe
at the air base in Roswell.
conflict with the
I was in the
unexpected, two
military, and I was
qualities
first
are
lieutenant at the time.
indispensable. In the first place,
My assignments
even in the midst
were
of this
3.
intense obscurity is not without some
Interestingly
traces
enough.
of human light,
I was
which leads to
assistant
truth.
flying safety
And then the
officer.
courage to follow this light.
I was assistant base
First is
operations officer.
strategy
And I
expressed
was
by French
assistant
phase through the oil.
group operations
The
officer.
other is
Now,
resolution.
the group was the 509th
As
Bomber
battle
Division.
is the featuring to which attention was originally chiefly directed. And
Because
as time
of
and space
the building I worked
in it,
in,
more
all 3
particularly
offices that I just
cavalry,
told you
there
about
were
were
decisions with
contained in the same
The
building.
idea of rapid and correct
And
decision
for a
relates
time,
in
it
the
seems
first
I was
instance
running
to
back
the
and forth.
estimation of these 2 elements. And
At that
to
time,
the
I was
idea
primarily
and
in
expression
group
was adopted,
operations.
which actually only points
And
to a correct judgment by eye.
the call came in one day
Then gave
during
this limited signification
B-29
as the
was
definition
ready
of
to
a
go
deploy.
as soon as
It is
possible.
undeniable that reliable decisions formed in the moment of action soon came to be
And of
understood by
course,
the
someone
expression,
asked
as for
where
instance,
to.
the hitting upon the right point of attack and such.
So just get
It
the
is
crew on
therefore
board,
not only the physical
have the
or
airplane
physical,
stand by, and
mental
we'll
art,
go to
which
Fort
is
Worth.
meant by deploy.
And that was
Much
Colonel
like the expression like the thing
Blanchard's
is always
directive.
more in its place in the field of tactics.
So I was out in
Still,
the
it
operations
must not
office.
be used against strategy, insomuch as in it,
Have
quick
to
decisions are often necessary.
explain to you, the building is an H-shaped
Which the
building.
expression has
And
given it over
the vertical part of the H is where the
It
2
amounts
hallways
simply
are,
to the
one on
rapid
each side. But
discovery
the
of the
one
truth,
on the right
which to
side
the ordinary mind is either not
ran
visible
directly
at all,
from the
or only
parking area
so
out
often on the examination
straight through the
of
building out to the ramp. the aircraft.
Resolution is an act of courage in
The
some
cross
instances, and if it becomes a
of the
characteristic trait, it is a
half
habit
of
of
it was
mind.
the
But if we do
operations,
not encourage offensive
base operations
danger,
office,
but
where
offensive responsibility,
the base pilots came in, fill out their flight plans,
this is
step
often called
to
courage
one side,
on the ground that it springs from
obtain
the
their weather
understanding.
briefing,
Nevertheless, it is
read
not
notices
likely
to
on
airmen,
that account.
got
It
all
is an act of
the
feeling.
material ready to go.
Their intelligence is still not courage.
Then the flight clearance then was taken and submitted to the tower to let them know something was going to happen, and air traffic control and so on.
Because in momentary emergencies, the
As I
man
explained
swayed
last
by his
night,
feelings and his thoughts.
or yesterday afternoon,
We have
trying
assigned
to
to
clarify a
resolution the
point.
office of removing the torments
Each
of doubt
squadron
and the dangers of
also
delay.
had their own
When there are no
operations.
sufficient
They
motives
could
for
release
violence,
their aircraft
through the
without going
unscrupulous use of
to
language
base
which is
operations.
prevalent at this time is often applied to the
They would let us know that the group was taking off
boldness or temerity, but
just how many
when there are
aircraft.
sufficient motives
They
to
had
begin,
already handled all
whether
their
the objective or subjective true
arrangements
or
with air
false,
traffic
we have no
control.
right to speak of his resolution for. When we do so,
At
we
any
put
rate,
ourselves in his place.
I was in that operations
doubts which did not exist within.
office.
Here there
Colonel
is no question
Blanchard
of anything but strength
drove up,
and
came
weakness.
in and asked if the aircraft
Dared
ready,
enough to
and
dispute with the use of
I
language
and one of the fellow
this
there,
application.
who is now
No
dead,
observations only intended to
I said
remove any
yes,
objections.
sitting right out front, ready to
This
go.
resolution then,
With
which
this, he
becomes the
turned,
state of
stepped out
doubting, can
back
only be
into the
called
hallway,
forth by the intellect and,
and
in fact,
waved
by
to
the
some people
tendency for saying.
outdoors and still
We
sitting in the
maintain that
auto.
the mere union of a superior understanding and the necessary feelings are not sufficient to make
I
a
suspect,
resolution.
trying to recall
There are
now,
persons who possess the keenest
4 or
perception
5 or 6
of
people,
the most difficult problems,
and I'll say
who are also not
5.
fearful of responsibility,
Doesn't
and
really
yet,
matter, but
in cases of difficulty,
they
cannot
came in
come
the
to
front door,
resolution.
straight down the
Encourage
hallway,
and their sagacity
right out
greatly
onto
depending
the
upon
ramp,
each other, to help each
climbing
other
the
in,
airplane.
and on that account,
And these were the
produce
people who were
resolutions
carrying
result.
parts of
The
the
form
crash.
of resolution is an act of the mind making evident the necessity of
Flying saucer
venturing,
at that time,
and thus influencing the
UMO
will.
today.
This quite peculiar
That,
direction of the mind which conquers
I got to see,
and
and that was the only thing I got to see. And very short,
This
very
what makes
quick.
a resolution in strong minds.
Colonel Blanchard, in order to get out of their way, had backed into the doorway of the
They may
ops
act without
office,
hesitation under
and I stepped up to him and I said, Colonel, turn sideways, I want to see too. Maybe if I hadn't said that to him, made it obvious that I was there, I would not have been kicked out 2 weeks later.
What was his immediate response to your request?
Well, he just turned, and if you knew Colonel Blanchard, and even when he went on to become 3-star general and vice chief of staff, he was a very commanding presence. And he was a good officer, a good leader. And when he said he wanted something, people said yes, sir, and it wasn't just because he was military. So he just turned and looked at me, and he did turn sideways so that I could half step into the doorway and watch the fellows go through. Thus I saw them carrying certain pieces of these metal items, and as I've described to other people when asked, they had one piece that was, like say, 18 to 24 inch or coffee table top brushed stainless steel. Or maybe if you think of the common aluminum foil roll today, pull out. One side's real reflective, but that's not that one. It's like the opposite side, which is rather dull. It doesn't have very reflective. And
that which, as a result of mature reflection, would be nothing unusual.
I've heard it mentioned now, of course, so many times about the I-beam and the markings on it. So I actually saw that piece of I-beam being carried through and saw the markings. But it was a case of, here it was, that was all I got to see. They went out, down aboard the aircraft, went to Fort Worth. And Major Marshall went with me.
1 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 2 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 3 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 4 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 5 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 6 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 7 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 8 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 9 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 10 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 11 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 12 expedient in his own danger implies more particularly a well-balanced mind. 13 expedient in his own danger implies more If you take a general view of the
I mentioned the operational setup. This has become clear in discussion that there was some confusion about what airplane went where.
To be able to make way with safety.
One of the first interviews I did, they asked me about a B-29, and I said, there was a B-25 also. Well, a couple of days later, we had occasion set up a B-25. Takes something to Fort Worth. Then there was a third flight.
But
This was the B-29 that became
and it is desirable for us to distinguish here
he
a little
flew
more closely,
to
at least,
Wright
the
Patterson
action of
Field in
thousands
Dayton,
in
Ohio.
relation to
Directly from Roswell.
Yes.
No stop off.
in the first place to make the conception clear
I
what
say
is
that,
essential to observe
not really
the
knowing that
weight
answer,
of
but
or whatever it may
going
be,
back
by which the force of the soul
to the time element involved,
is only in a very small
I sensed the other day that everyone got the impression
I still get
that
tongue tied and I get friends
picked up material,
questions
brought around base,
that I've answered
showed it to the colonel,
times.
and it was flown out.
Same questions that put two ends
At the same time, Walter
You have to shake your hands, back off that
newspaper public relations, and within 12 hours, it was all
Relax.
stopped.
Me talking,
Killed.
sort of ignore Tom and his camera.
Secondly,
And I picked up that everyone was thinking
I do have some means of that happens, but
everything went out
the camera
on that flight. They went to Fort Worth and then they went out to Wright
And
Patterson.
I'm trying to think, I may lose eye contact with him. That was just strictly
You know, 40 years. Something that happened in the
Stop it.
Are we rolling?
I knew he was a mortician.
Mr. Hawk, can you tell me about the day of
On the 40th anniversary, the paper in Roswell reprinted
what's happening
the
that
story
day.
of pictures on the sketch.
Basically, up until the time I got the phone call from him, I can't tell you what was happening.
Aliens were
Probably very routine days. I was doing either public relations work,
As we were going
housing,
to the front
or
door,
something else. I really, I can't remember what it was. It was just normal work day. Got the telephone call from Blanchard,
yes, I did.
and in essence, he told me that
And the shock number one comes when he said, that's what they looked at.
a flying saucer, parts of that,
Thus we stopped talking a little bit about the find out that he has since been interviewed by Stanley Friedman.
west of Roswell.
He was a mortician on board.
And then stated that Major Marcel, different Marcel, was our base cancer, was going to
By the light of his spirit,
fly
despite the fact that the light of
Fort
hope must
Worth,
be kindled afresh in
under
others.
General
His
Robert
right
Raymond,
hand
who
is
was
equal
commander,
to this.
commanding
He stands
general
above
of
it
the
and
Eighth
supposed to be a
Airborne
master.
Forward.
Whenever that ceases, his own spirit is not strong enough to provide
He told me to prepare a release, basically the information that he gave me over the phone,
which shrinks from day
when it was done, to take it into the community and deliver tangible reviews for news media we had in Roswell at that time. That would be what I did.
As best you recall, would that what happened initial phone conversation during the morning or in the afternoon?
To the best of my remembrance, it would have been in the morning. And I would have to guess, somewhere I would guess around 9 o'clock. The only reason I come up with that figure is that had to be done and gotten so that it was found to the record in time for them to set it, and I had gone ahead and forwarded them at today's evening paper.
And would you know what day this happened?
I would say the 8th of July, 1947.
That was the date of the Roswell record article. What, once you wrote up the news release, then what happened after that?
As I said, I had to take it into town, he told me to take it in so that if there is any validity to the fact that this was a flying saucer, and information got out to other news media other than our own, he felt that he wanted our people there in Roswell to have first practice. He didn't want them to feel that he had given the information out to someone who got it to the press services outside of Roswell. So I went in town and delivered two reports, especially the news media in town, two radio stations.
Do you happen to recall what your itinerary was, who you went to first, for example?
I'm almost certain I went to the radio station KGFL first, secondly to KSWS, they were a half a block north, and then I took it to the Daily Record, which is a block further north, and then on my way back out to the base, I dropped it off at the Morning Dispatch, 3 blocks from the Daily Record.
What's your recollection about the reception initially when you handed out this news release to various local outlets? Did anybody read this material and respond immediately?
I don't believe they did. I believe, again, going back to many years, I believe the first place I went was to this KGFL, and I believe I was simply left it on the desk of the receptionist. As I recall, she was not there, and Frank Joyce, just my memory, was in the studio, and he could see the reception area and also see out on the street. And I think I probably pointed at it to indicate that it was something for them. I don't remember what had happened at KSWS. The record I gave it to the editor because he sat close to the front door. Probably said, "Hi Don, how are you today? Might like to have this," or very nothing fantastic. The normal routine, what I did when I brought them the news release. And I went down to the dispatch. Again, I believe there, I took it into either the editor's office or the publisher's office. I remember real well. In case I stick my head in it. The actual delivering of it to who I gave it is, I may have seen a half dozen people in different news media offices who I finally said, here it is. It's kind of hard to differentiate from one to the other. Nothing, nobody says, oh wow, we don't looked at it.
Well, most journalists treat news releases.
That's right, and this was not something that was unusual, because you walk into someone's office and say, here's a news release, which I've done many times, and nothing was at hot, and they had to grab it and run back and stop presses and that type of thing. So they took it and probably glanced at it and had a few words and went my merry way.
And what happened next after you completed your appointed rounds?
I returned to the base. When I got into my office, the phone was ringing, and I picked it up, and the first call was from London, England. I answered the phone. I found out it was from London, England. Newsman over there. But his question was, how did Major Marcel know how to fly this thing? I had in the stated that Major Marcel had flown the object to Fort Worth, meaning that he had put it on an aeroplane and got it and flew the aeroplane. It was a choice of words the way I put it.
is that they
there
are
were a
easily
tremendous
excited
number
after
of
trifling
calls
grounds,
saying,
in fact, matters are
if
easily
this is an
overwhelmed. Many
unidentified
of these
flying
calls show
object,
great
how are we going
activity
to
and
have someone within our Air Force know how to get in there and hit switches and run controls?
Such people are not deficient in either activity or regularity at all, but they will never
Some of
accomplish
them are
anything great.
this and
There is a great intellectual force
fly-by-night
functions in the
stories.
narrative,
Can
and
you
it is
verify
very
it?
seldom that a strong,
Commanding
independent
officer
mind is combined with
the
such
one
a
that
power.
stated that this is what we had.
Excitable, inflammable,
That's verification number you.
For me, that was more than enough verification. When he said something, that was the law.
They have certainly the advantage of strong impulses,
That went on
but they cannot sustain them.
continually. We had
At the same time, if the excitability in such men takes the direction of courage or a sense of honor, they may be very useful in inferior positions in war, because the actual war which commanders in inferior positions have control is generally of shorter duration. You want courageous resolution,
Tapered off
one
completely.
effervescence of the forces of the soul, elephants
Half
of
hour or
life.
so, just
A brave attack
looking
is
over
so
what
stirring
happened
around
over the course
is
of
the
the
lack
day.
of a few moments.
Beyond
Just a brave contest on
the
battlefield is the work of the day.
They didn't stop
And
operating
everything
because
yeah. Owing to the rapid movement of their field,
so-called
is doubly
flying
difficult for men of this description.
What happened the next day?
Overdrawn of the mind, therefore frequently
The only
nauseated.
thing that happened of any
That is
import,
the
as far as
most
I was
fatal
concerned,
nature as respects the conduct of war.
I believe I read it in the morning newspaper, or heard it on the news, that General Ramey said that we didn't have a flying saucer, that was a weather
They cannot do
balloon.
so even under the strongest excitement.
With which I just
Or should they not have the sentimental
tremendous
self-respect?
sigh of relief, and I think I turned to one of the people in the office and said, well, they sure made fools of us again.
From that verse, they
Then again, we
sacrificed from
fit in the category of hundreds of others that had said they saw flying objects.
dreams of being on
It was
the
not
guard,
common.
at the moment of powerful excitement,
People
very
think they had a flying object and
counteracting
then
force within their own breasts.
and shot
In
down.
such men, they have great strength of mind.
Beyond that, that was the end of it.
Lastly, those who are difficult to move.
Did you see any of this record or any material?
None whatsoever.
When you stand in the
Do you
same
believe
relation
Colonel Blanchard
to
seen it?
Yes, I do.
flame,
And why do you feel
best
that?
directed by means of the tactics
I don't think he would have been so,
masses by which we may figuratively represent the difficulties which
I don't want to say gung-ho, but I don't think he would have been so confident in his comment. We have a flying
Such men are not so
saucer.
likely to be suddenly surprised by
Parts of the
things
flying saucer. I
carried
don't
away
want
so as to be afterwards ashamed of
the
themselves.
exact verbiage.
Proceeding,
He wasn't overly excited. He wasn't flippant about it. It was just a normal, routine type of conversation that he's having when he called me and said he wants to done.
But he sounded pretty positive about
He
it.
sounded
These
positive,
examples
yes.
is most frequently in men of noble minds belonging to savage
Would
nature.
you have any reason to believe that Colonel Blanchard was mistaken this material
Even amongst the
any
most
form
civilized
of
classes
weather
of civilized states,
balloon
lovers of
observation?
I don't think there's one chance in a billion that he would not have recognized a weather balloon.
We therefore say once
He
more
was
strong
not
mind
in West
is not
Point
always
graduate
merely
class of
susceptible to strong
37,
excitement,
as I recall.
but one which can maintain its serenity
Gone
under
up
the most
to
powerful excitement.
second
So
lieutenant
that
to
in spite of
colonel,
the
not too many years.
perception
Very
and
intelligent
judgment can act
individual,
with perfect freedom, with the need
not
for
the type
compass
to
and
just
storm
jump off
position.
on tangents. I think
By the time strength and courage
knew a weather
since the
balloon
character is denoted tenacity of
had seen
conviction.
him, and that would have been the end of
That
that.
had been
He
a
wouldn't
scientific
have
on
gone
his views and whether there are
anywhere
principles of
that he
voluntary
told
inspirations or any other
himself
notions to be
as
understood.
a weather balloon.
But this kind of thought certainly cannot manifest itself if the views
That was
themselves
my next
are
question.
subject
Is it
to
possible
change.
Major Marcel would have been misled? Or
No.
This frequent change need
is
not
it
be
possible
the
that Colonel Blanchard might have been misinformed by somebody who told him about what this record was without having seen it for himself?
I would doubt that very much. I don't think he would have taken the actions he did by going down to Operation Blitz. If he was there in the operation building, he certainly saw it. I'm sure that Major Marcel had talked to him and given him some pretty sage advice as far as he was concerned.
Activity and therefore want to change.
almost just so knew about it was that he, again, was a very intelligent individual, and not the type that would just jump ahead and try to carry it to an end. Between the two of us, I'm certain that one or the other would have called the other one's hand if it was a weather balloon.
What did you think when General Ramey said it was a weather balloon? Believe that?
We're in 1947, when the general said it was a weather balloon, and it was a load off of our mind. As far as I was concerned, when I said my office, the public
You know what the focus of your attention.
out of it completely.
You're just as happy that that was the case.
Very much so.
Even the greatest impossibility of life is
Surprisingly, I used to think general, that time he had become a general.
when you decide to
Blanchard,
explore in deep,
he
none but
kind of
general
called me
principles
back
of
to
observation from my standpoint can be decided. I don't expect
never
to hold
over
the opinion in each particular case in consideration.
Was that deliberate on your part?
I had very frankly completely forgotten about it.
In opposition to the stream of opinions
And when it was forgotten, without very much,
it's just the difference between a particular case and the principle. There is often a
Did anything happen, did the Colonel say anything about this incident shortly after General Ramey's statement? Perhaps at a staff meeting?
in the next staff meeting, which was about a week later, I was pretty terrified that time.
That one's controlled, that maximizes in all doubtful cases. He defers to opinion and do not give it up
I was shipped
until
out
conviction forces to do so.
After those
Firmly
comments,
believing his opinion authority will filter absence.
we sure messed up
Is that
on that
unexpected?
one
Momentary
last week.
Well, it was
Matter of fact, that out of that
These things occur.
weather balloon
By adherence to the cycle
here on our station from White Sands,
Came in the 8th Air Force
it is
and
easy to
said,
see how
checking
essential
the
programs might
urgent need,
character
one flying safety officer, MOS number such and such.
He sort of helped
he
buttress the weather balloon theory.
And
with that comment,
they turned around and
see, he knew it all. You know, we were all real smart all of a sudden.
had
Knew
something
that.
like this. I was the only weights and downs officer on that base.
understanding. We use the term as denoting a resistance against opposite judgment. And it
So
would
I
be
was
consistent
shipped
to
out.
charge that to the understanding
Going to Clark
as the
Field with
understanding is
Philippines
the power of judgment.
because
Obstinacy
of
is
the
the
weights and
fault of
downs.
feelings of the heart. This inflexibility
I understand the nurse was shipped out the same week.
of the origin
The
only
sergeant
of a
of the
particular
guard
kind of
and the
egotism,
guards,
which
all
sets
of them,
above every
who
other
surrounded the
knowledge
site,
that
swept the area,
governs
picked pieces
of
up.
one's own mind
They were
alone.
all shipped out.
We should call it a kind of
Every one of
vanity.
us went to a different base
Decidedly
someplace
something
around the
better.
world, so that no two of us
Vanity
were
is
together.
outside what we show, but obstinacy rests upon the enjoyment of the thing. We say
That by design?
force of character degenerates.
Oh yes, I believe it was by design because
Opposing judgments
it takes,
proceeds not from
it's
better
been
convictions or relies
looking
on
back through the years, and even at that
That's what
time,
feeling
I
of opposition.
suspected something because
if this definition,
I got to Clark
as
Field
we have already admitted, is all
and
that the system
they
is
didn't need a
practical,
weights and balance
still
officer.
it
They
would
had
prevent
never asked him.
obstinacy from being incident when the force of character intensified.
Well, I said, well, that's what this telegram says.
Something certainly lies close
And
to
they
it.
said, we don't care what that says, we don't need one, we've got one.
At the same time,
and,
so
we don't need another one.
of it, that there are very obstinate
They
men who from want of
What else do you
understanding
do?
are very
And I said, well,
character.
operations officer.
Having in these
I
attributes
said, all right, I'll assign you to squadron so-and-so as the operations officer.
heart and head to operate.
That's where
We now come to the speciality of military activity, which perhaps
we were
ranks
involved in
top as the most
high
marked,
altitude photo
not the
recon.
most important,
That's what I
and which
spent
only
time
makes
when
demand
we
of
were
the power
doing
of mind
taking
without regard to
pictures from high altitude.
It is the connection
Where
which
was the
exists
nurse shipped
between
I understand she was shipped to Germany, and I
this connection is, in
understand
the first place, a
it was told that there was an airplane crash, and she and her nurses
in
were all
operation
killed.
otherwise than in some given space. It is, secondly,
the sergeant of the guard who surrounded the territory and picked up the material. He lives in New Mexico, and I understand just recently spoke to one of the reporters for the first time, but his information has not been released in any of the stories.
In this manner, a great peculiarity.
I say that because the investigative reporter said, Bob, you just saw him, and he has spoken to us for the first time since the event. That was
mining, the chase, and
well, that
forestry.
was nearly 43 years.
Which may be excusable with sufficient
And
examples. But the commander in war
he said,
must commit the business he has
since
in
we're the
hand
first
to
ones
the
he's
cost
talking
of
with, he
space,
said, we're not going to use any of his material at this point.
which the keenest
Because
zeal cannot
we have to
otherwise
dovetail
and
and
with which,
collaborate.
owing to the constant changes taking place,
But he said, I am
we
finding
can
that
also seldom become properly acquainted.
what
So
you
may
said,
the enemy general
speaking
is
to
in
me,
the
said,
same
what you
situation
have
still.
told us this
In the
evening
first place, the
just
difficulty of
emphasizes
both
and
is
proves the
not the less
point
a
what everyone else
and
has
he
said.
who by talent and practice becomes it will have great advantage on his side.
This
Secondly, this
particular
equality of
reporter, by the
difficulty
way,
both sides is
came
merely
out of
an
New York
abstract
City, and he
supposition,
said when he got
which
the
is really
assignment, he was
realized in
totally
particular
aghast.
cases.
They
One
would
of
think
the
of sending
pursuits,
him out
the defensive,
to research
is
some
much more public.
unidentified flying object, which he didn't
Very
believe.
peculiar difficulty must be
But he said, I've become convinced
special
of being
purpose
here.
and by the restricted term of the arresting sense
So,
of
roughly
locality.
speaking, that's my
It is the
story.
power of forming a correct geometrical idea
I
of
saw
any
a couple
country,
things. I was involved
and
with
consequently of
scheduling
being
an
able to
aircraft.
find its place in it exactly
I
at
was
the
shipped
time.
out with several
This
other
is
people,
plainly
all
an act of
at about the
imagination.
same
The
time.
perception that it is formed partially
And
by
40 years went by before a best friend of mine
with ideas derived
spoke up for the first time and
and the
said,
fragments visible to
I
the
know
physical eye
something
from
about
afar.
that.
But that this whole should present itself
Since
vividly.
that time, Stanton Friedman
Should
has
become a picture
interviewed the
commented
individual.
on
I
that. That this picture should be fixed. And the
took
details should never
Stanton
get
up
separated
in the mountains
themselves.
to meet the
All
man
that can only be effected by the
because
faculty.
Stanton didn't know whether he should go.
If some
This
blind
is
or
rather
painter should feel grateful
as an
while he's
aside.
got such an
That
office,
has nothing to do
if
with
he
anything.
shrugs his shoulders at the notion that a sharp game
I was talking to Stanton in his hotel room in Roswell
we
and
readily
Stanton
grant
said,
that the
well,
unspeaking
so-and-so has invited me up there for dinner tomorrow.
service. You know,
Do you suppose I ought to go?
capacity, but on a slight sense, still he must be the one
I can rent a car and
for
drive up
effective
there.
as
It
wanting
can
it
take
would be
every
difficult to
word.
imagine things plainly in order
Then
that
I
they
said,
be
Stan,
visible.
knowing this
But a good
individual,
memory is a great assistance, we freely allow. But whether memory is to be considered as an independent
he's one of the good
faculty
old
of mind
ones.
in this case, or whether it is
He
just
speaks
that
his
power of
piece.
imagination which he affixes
If
these
he
things by
invited you to
memory
come up and have dinner with him,
as in many respects,
that
it's
means he
difficult
wants you to come up and have dinner with
consider these two
him.
mental powers partially.
And it wasn't a
That
polite
practice of
thing he
mental
was doing.
acuteness had much to do
He
with
said
it.
it's an exceptional thing he's doing.
Boysica, the celebrated quartermaster
I
general
went
of
home
famous
and
Luxembourg,
cleared the decks
used
with
to
my
say
wife
that he had
and
very
called
little
Stan
confidence
back.
in himself in this respect.
I'll take you up there
because
tomorrow.
if he had to fetch the
Help
parole
you,
from a
and
distance,
I'll introduce
he
you.
always lost his way.
So
It is natural that
we did.
the exercise of his talent.
We had a great interview, and then we all went in to have dinner together, and we continued clarifying some points
For that, a few
for
marks,
Stanton.
a few limited powers of observation
Did you
were
and
sufficient.
the Mortician
The chief of an army
both
must
had
make himself familiar with each other's
interesting relationships with
parts
Norway
and of the country.
nurse?
Must always have vividly
I have to
before
ask
his eyes the
what you
direction
think about what you were told about
without at the same time being able to dispense with an narrow sense of locality, arisen.
Well, my
accept
only thought was,
Objects of general maps, books and memoirs.
I had two thoughts about it. One is,
are a great help to him, but it is
gosh, what a waste.
But if he has
Because,
himself the talent for forming
when
a
I was
mind
working
picture of the country quickly and
there
distinctly, it
in
makes
group
his action
operations,
easier from the step, saves him from a certain mental
colonel who
hopelessness,
sat in front of
and
me,
makes him less
or
difficult
I
to
should say,
process.
the colonel operations
His
officer,
talent is then to inscribe to imagination.
behind whom I
It is
sat
also
with my
in this
desk,
only service with
and
an attractive
to my
voice
left
from
was
acrobatic
Major
courtesy.
Woody Swankett,
Instances more
who
helpful and useful in other respects.
flew the bikini
I
drop.
think we have now passed in review those manifestations of the powers of the mind and soul which
And
will
the colonel got an assignment to go overseas.
Anyway, intellect appears as an essential cooperative
And his
force,
airplane
and thus we can understand how the
was
work of
reportedly
war,
blown up
so
over
plain and
the
simple in its effects, can never be conducted with
He had
distinguished
nothing to
success
do
by
with
people without distinguished
the
powers of
Roswell incident
understanding.
because he was going overseas before the Rosalind took place. And it was one of those things. The fellows were here today, and gosh, Fred, you're going where tomorrow? Oh, is that right, you know?
Certainly one is accustomed to
Your airplane goes down, you're lost.
soldier as the very opposite of a man of reflection,
There's another friend gone.
full of inventions and
That's the
ideas,
way he thought of it.
or of the brilliant spirit.
The second thing I thought of in regards to Naomi and the nurses,
This antithesis is also by no means devoid of truth,
of
but
course now, I'm
it does
overseeing
not
this.
show that the efficacy of the soldier
Learned this
consists only in
either
his
while I was
courage,
there or right
and that
after I
there is
got
no
back,
particular
that
energy and capacity of the brain required in addition
her
to make a
airplane
man
was
merely what is called a true soldier. We
So
must again repeat that
two
there is
possible.
nothing more common
One was the
than to
normal,
remain
natural
with
thing
someone energy
of
when being raised to a higher position.
some kind of
Which they
airplane
perform themselves
being lost.
But we
Because
must
it does
also
occur.
bear in mind that we are speaking of preeminent services,
Boy,
such
the
as
government
giving
takes
down
an
the
extreme to
activity to which they
control what she knows.
which Granny commanded more than
She was the one
forces by
who actually
stratagem
worked
of
on the
requisite
bodies.
capability of fame and honor. An immense space
thing
lies
they
between
had
the general,
called
that
this
is, one who
mortician,
is at the head of the whole
asking
theatre
him
of the
for
war, and his second in command, for the simple reason that the latter
information
is in
on
a
taking
more
care of the
immediate
bodies, because
subordination
she
to
had
a
just
superior
newly
authority or
returned
supervision,
from
consequently is restricted to
school,
more
the
than
latest
necessary of independent thought.
methods known at
This
that
is why
time.
common opinion sees no room for the
How to
exercise of
preserve
high
the
talent
body.
except in high places.
She had
Looks upon
related to her
ordinary
what
capacity as
he
sufficient
knew,
for all beneath.
and she was
This is why
trying to
people
do
are
that.
rather inclined to look upon a subordinate general who ingrained the service and in whom constant
She had
discharge
more
of routine
first-hand
duties is
information
produced
about
a
the alien
certain
body than
mind,
anyone else.
as a man of failing intellect and with more respect for his bravery to laugh at
What
his
about yourself? Do you have any
It is not
concern
our object to gain for these brave men a better report. That
Are
would
you
contribute nothing to
drawing a
our
pension?
society,
No.
but to their happiness.
So there's
We
not
wish only
any
to represent
direct
things as they are and to expose the error of believing that only a brother without intellect can make himself
Did you sign any
distinguished.
kind of secrecy oath?
As we consider
No,
distinguished
I
talents
was
requisite
not
for
told
those
to
who are
keep
to attain
quiet.
distinction, even in inferior positions. It naturally follows
Some
that
people
the
were,
highly of those who
when they
feel
felt
that
had more
places second in
information
command of an army.
than they knew I
And the
did.
seeming simplicity of character as
And,
compared with polite stuff.
it's just-
Already men of business, councillors of state,
As I learned,
must not
everyone
lead us
was
astray as to the superior nature of their
So
intellectual
that probably
activity.
pretty much
It
took care
happens
of it.
sometimes that
That
men
was the first
fame
initial
gained in an inferior
This
position,
mortician,
by the way,
for example,
without
because
in
of
reality
his
deserving it
involvement.
in the new position. And then, if they are knowledge employed,
He was visited.
knowledge
His
exposed,
mother and father
the
were
risk of showing
visited
their
by
own place.
military
The judgment does not distinguish very
people,
exactly
whether
what
they
degree
were
of
in
fame is really
uniform
due to them,
or
and
in
that such men are
civilian
often
dress.
the occasion of too low an
They
estimate
were
being
warned
formed
not
of
to
the
say anything
characteristics
to anybody
required to
about
shine in
anything.
certain situations. For each station, from the
Very
lowest upwards,
direct.
to render distinguished services in war,
And
there
once
must be a
again,
particular genius.
I
At the top
believe
of
this
genius,
man
history
without
and the
fail.
judgment of posterity only confer, in general, on those minds which have shown the most
So some people were
as
directly
commanders in
told,
chief. The reason is that
others
here,
were just shipped
in point
out.
of fact, the command of reasoning and
I came back from
powers
overseas
is
and
much
learned
greater.
that Walter
To
Hawke
conduct a
had
war
resigned
its
from
great
his
acts,
commission.
which we call campaigns, to a successful termination,
Thus they left
must
him
be
alone.
an
Walter, of
intimate
course,
knowledge of the state
as
policy in
you
its
probably know,
relations.
never did see
Conduct
any.
of war and policy of state may
He
coincide,
personally never
and the
saw
general
any of the
becomes,
parts or
at the
pieces
same time,
or
a
whatnot.
statesman. We do not give Charles XII
He
the
just
name of
happens to be
genius,
the guy that wrote
because
the
he
release that stirred everything
Oh.
up. Yeah, and again, it was on.
Thank you, Mr. Shirky. I appreciate your time.
So that's all I know.